cultivation substrate or medium is a part of every project. In this video I'm going to cover the basics of making liquid cultivation broth and solid agar plates. It's extremely important to work under sterile conditions when inoculating microorganisms. We need to sterilize the medium by autoclavation. When you are mixing your medium in a flask like this, then your fingers are getting all over the place, and we need to kill off these potential contaminants by autoclavation. The autoclavation process is a boiling process for 15 minutes at 121 centigrade that kills off any potential unwanted visitors in our flask. It is also important to perform the autoclavation on the same day you mix the medium, otherwise it can turn bad pretty quickly. You can, for instance, prepare LB medium for your E. coli cultures. LB medium is pretty simple to make. You need 10 grams of tryptone, 5 grams of yeast extract, 10 grams of salt for 1 liter of LB medium. If you want to make LB plates, agar, then you also add 20 grams per liter of agar. Please note that some of these media recipes also come in a pre-mixed version where you just have to add water and then you are done. You can prepare your medium in a large flask like this and then distribute it into smaller containers after it has been sterilized. Or you are also welcome to mix your ingredients in the cultivation flasks directly and then autoclave those. If you prepare your medium in a large flask like this, then you should also sterilize a handful of cultivation flasks in parallel. You can control the pH of your medium by using a standard pH meter, and if you need to adjust the pH, then add a small amount of acid or base to it. One last tip is to use autoclave tape. It contains a special pigment that turns colored when heated. Here is an example. You can see the black stripes appearing on this autoclavation tape. That's because this flask was autoclaved. And some media require the addition of antibiotics. Please note that many antibiotics are heat sensitive and they will degenerate during the autoclavation process. That is why you must add them after you have autoclaved your medium inside of the left bench. This is the ultra pure type 1 water machine. It works like this. You press and hold the button and water comes out. These are the autoclave machines. Functions as a big pressure cooker. You put your samples in here and add some water, shut the gates. Please note that we do not allow bachelor students to handle this equipment by themselves. Master students can, however, get an introduction by a staff member and then they can autoclave their own stuff. If you want something autoclaved, you can place it here and it will appear down here after it has been sterilized. Now the agar has just come out of the autoclave and it is still extremely hot. So while I wait for it to cool off, I'm gonna put it onto a heating block so that it does not solidify before I'm ready to pour my plates. This is a left bench. When turned on, it creates a sterile environment inside and your medium and samples are protected inside from the risk of contamination. It's a very bad idea to take your medium and open it up outside of the left bench. It will turn bad pretty quickly. Now the agar is molten and I also waited for an additional half hour. I can now handle the agar without burning my fingers, and I can also add the antibiotics without getting destroyed by the heat in the agar. So I'm just gonna add my antibiotics and then we can pour some plates. When adding antibiotics to your medium, it's important to mix the medium before pouring it into the plates so that all the plates contain the same concentration of antibiotics. For this purpose, I've put in a magnet before autoclaving the agar, so I now have the chance to mix the agar and then pour the plates. To pour an agar plate, it's pretty simple. Let the agar sit for a while, not long enough for it to solidify, but long enough so that it cools down, or use a thick glove so you don't burn yourself. Normally you can squeeze out 20 plates from half a liter of molten agar. If you want thick plates, you just pour in a lot. If you want many plates, then you cast them thinly. I just pour in the agar like that, and then I leave it to dry for about 10 minutes before I close the lid. This way any additional heat or water vapor can escape the plate before it solidifies. Then it's just to continue. When casting a thin plate, just pour in a little bit of agar, about 15 milliliters. It shouldn't fill out the entire thing, but you can just close it and shake it a little bit carefully. And that way the agar is spread out into the entire plate, but it's also extremely thin. But if this is an experiment where your organism is growing for a long time, then I don't recommend making thin plates. Lastly, if you want to make a lot of plates quickly, then you can merely lift the lid of the bottom one like this, pour it, do the next one, the next one, and this way you should be able to produce all the plates you want pretty quickly. The final thing to do is to label the plates, what media it is. One way to do it would be to write on all the plates. That's a bit time consuming, so I suggest a more rapid alternative.